Okay, so now that I had these pieces fitted, this aluminum, they tend to get, they're kind of like greasy. You see fingerprints in it a lot. I don't know if you can see that or not, but so what I'm going to do before I go ahead and paint it is just use a wax and grease remover on it and clean that up. I'm going to sand it and then go again with the wax and grease remover. You can use brake cleaner too, that works pretty good. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll put a coat of primer on it. Okay, so that's all been cleaned off and sanded down. I was using 400 grit sandpaper there just to scuff that to give the paint something to adhere to. The last thing I'm going to do is just take a tack cloth, go back over it before I paint, and just pick up anything that's on there that would cause a blemish in the paint. So then I'm going to do 2 coats of primer on it and see what that looks like at that point. Alright, and that's with the final coat on. Okay, so my next step is going to be to fit these tubes that'll hold the rods in here. And I don't know how many I'm going to get yet. I'm going to try and get as many as I can. Cut them in, that is 20 degrees. That's what seemed to work the best. So basically what I'm going to do is start from the bottom here and just cut out a hole with the hole saw and just start to fit these in place. I might have to move this guy just to give myself a little bit more room. If I have to cut the end of it off, that's fine. The other thing I'm going to do when I get close to this side is I'm going to have to put this bracket, or not a bracket, but the whole piece that runs down here that we're painting in there, just to make sure I don't, cut outside it or anything like that, but it'll sit about here. So I've got that much room to play with. So I'm going to cut my first hole and see how it goes. So that's the first guy I got installed. I drilled the hole. I didn't go straight in. I drilled it on an angle. And then that's the tube running up there. So basically what's going to happen, this is a 7/6 flipping stick, so it's like one of my longest rods. It'll kind of come in and sit like that. And then I'll probably have to make something. I might even just cut a few of these off just for the butt ends to go into to secure them. And I'm going to carpet here too just to protect the reels. That's basically how it's going to go. Okay, so I did cut into that bracket, that little angle bracket that's holding this piece on. Right here, there was a screw right here holding it in place. So I'm going to have to drill another hole here just to allow me to screw that bracket back in. Okay, so for feeding the tubes in, I found it's much easier to actually push them through this way. You have to put a lot more through them, but it was definitely a lot easier rather than pulling them through. Getting it lined up in that hole was just too difficult from this end. So I just kind of put them on the angle that I cut on and just kind of twist back and forth till they go through. It's a really tight fit. The hole saw is a 2-inch hole saw, so if I did a 2 1/4, they'd fit a lot easier, but I want them to be pretty snug in here, so that's why I went with the 2-inch. Okay, so I've put that wall temporarily into place there. And there you go, you got 4 in there now. So I'm going to obviously cut that out just so I don't get any line nicks. I'm going to cut it out much bigger than I need to, just so when my rod's resting in there I don't get any nicks in the line. Next one I'm going to do is about here. I'm going to put one more over here. Now, the one thing I did that I probably shouldn't have done is I kind of angled them so they were just flat. If I angled them so they went down, I'd be able to get a lot more in. I could probably get at least 2 more in very easily. These last 2 are going to be a struggle because of this brace here. So everything wants to kind of go up. So if I angled them down a little bit, it would have been a lot easier to get these in. Alright, so I got that piece installed here. Just temporarily put into place just to make sure everything fits. Vacuumed out the inside just so that's a little easier now. So you can see that cutaway there that I made. Drilled some holes in there to attach that bracket. And I'm still going to have to go ahead and modify that bracket in order to order to clear those holes, but that's not going to be a huge deal. So I'm just going to get this back in place first. Okay, so that's all into place now. Put a few rivets here, put this little piece of scrap up on top just to keep everything level, countersunk these rivets. These ones I guess I just mismeasured when I cut this, so I had to drill a couple new holes there, but no big deal. Everything's screwed into place. Just gotta work on this bracket now. That's the next thing I'm gonna do. But this is like pretty solid, so I'm really happy with how this came out.